Nicole, really, really good stuff here. Just great. I'm just so proud of you. You're doing everything just wonderfully. You've been paying attention. The file is set up perfectly. You've got your levels clipped to your different. This is fantastic. I want to show you a couple of advanced techniques. I think you're ready for this. Okay, so let's go to the wheelbarrow. I'm just going to go to my selection tool or my direct move tool here, and I'm going to command click on the wheelbarrow. That'll take me right to that layer in the layers palette. So on that layer, now if I clip a adjustment layer to the wheelbarrow, it's going to affect everything. I think the wheel of the wheelbarrow is too dark, but I don't want to clip something to the whole layer because the body of the wheelbarrow isn't too dark. So what we can do is we can affect only the wheel. Let me show you how. I'm in the wheelbarrow. Let me zoom in here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my selection tool on the wheelbarrow layer and I'm going to select the wheel. Let's go to add to selection. Okay, now we got the wheel selected. Okay, now this is where it gets neat. I'm going to take that selection right there. I'm going to say Command J. Command J is going to take that selection and create a new layer from the selection. So what I can do now is name that wheel. Okay, and then from that point, I can go ahead and take a new adjustment layer. Let's just go to levels. Okay, clip that to the wheel layer, grab our properties, and just lighten the wheel. Isn't that awesome technique? Okay, let's go back to, look at that. That's great. Isn't that very cool technique? So we lighten up the wheel alone. All right, now let's take that technique a step further. Now what I want to do here is I want to show you how we can affect only the rake with a complex selection. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my move tool. I'm going to click on the rake, command click, brings us to the rake layer. I can see that there is already an adjustment layer on the rake itself. So what I wanted, and that's just affecting the stick of the rake, not the teeth of the rake. So on the rake layer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, and I want to do a selection based on color. But the only way I can do a selection based on color without selecting the same color in the entire image is to isolate that layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to option click on that layer. See how option click takes everything away except the layer that I'm clicked on? So with the garden rake layer, right now I'm going to do this. I'm going to come down here. Let me zoom in so you can see what we're doing. Okay, and I only need the black. So instead of coming in here and trying to really select all of the black, I'm going to come across the top in the menu across the top of the screen. I'm going to click select, and I'm going to click color range. Okay, that'll bring up my little eyedropper tool here, and I'm going to click that black right there. Say OK, and that selects just the rake. Now, if I had all my layers open, it would select all the black in the entire image. I'm noticing this little selection here, so I'm just going to go to my selection tool. I'm going to go to minus, and I'm just going to see if I can get rid of it. There we go, get rid of that. Okay, so now we're on our let's see what layer we are on. So we're on the garden rake layer. I've got the black part selected. I'm going to Command J that, remember? That'll create a new layer. Okay, now the problem is you've got that levels layer adjusting the stick of the rake. So I don't want that to affect the layer below it, which is our rake teeth layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that rake teeth layer and I'm just going to move it right above that adjustment layer there. Okay, at this point, I can bring back all the layers. Let's bring back all the layers. It's a little more difficult to bring them all back than it is to make them all go away. But there are all my layers. Okay, so let's go to the rake teeth layer. Okay, notice if I turn it off, nothing happens because it's a duplicate of the layer below it. So, but with it duplicated on top of that, I'm going to select that layer. I'm going to go to my new adjustment layer. I'm going to just go to levels. Okay, let's clip that to rake teeth. Bring our properties out, and let's lighten up Only the black part of the teeth. Isn't that awesome? Let me show you that, how that looks. See how dark it was? Look how we lighten it up a little bit. Very cool. Now you can do that exact same technique with this bow saw right here. These clippers down here. And the cool thing is this, is if we go down here to the layer 1, okay, and I'm just going to grab a selection here. And let's say we just take that selection right there. This right here. Okay, and I'm going to take some of that selection away. So let's get rid of it. Okay, so now I'm just doing this quick so you can see. But so there's that part of the bushes. See how black there? Command J, create a new layer out of that. In that new layer, of course, we'll just say, right above it, we'll just say new adjustment layer. Go to to levels. Clip that. Properties. And we can I want you to see this. So let's move that. Properties. And then we can just lighten that part of the image. See that? Very cool, huh? Okay, so, and the final thing I would recommend is I would lighten up a couple areas. I would put that bow saw, this clippers right here, the rake, the wheel for the wheelbarrow. Some of the areas in the background, we'll bring those more of the leaves out. And the only other thing I would say is to lighten up the color of the type itself. So yeah, I would lighten up, and I can see that the can itself is really kind of blown out in some areas too. Let's take a close look at that so you can see what I mean. See how that's all pure white? Let's get some detail back in there by adjusting that. And then the garden glitter grays, I would go with a light color there. It's kind of difficult to read, especially at small sizes. If we zoom out a little bit, you can see it's almost really difficult to read that. So, all right, so those are really cool techniques. Those are advanced techniques, Nicole, but you're up for it. I mean, by the way, the drop shadow looks great. Good job. I'm sorry, the cast shadow looks phenomenal. You may even want to darken that up just a little bit. That shadow right there. You might darken that up just a little bit. But other than this, I think I'm just so pleased with where you're at. So fantastic job. Any questions, comments, or if I need to clarify anything, please let me know. But try to make those changes for your final submission. Great job. Thanks.